Peace, YouTube. This is Fleur Brune coming to you today on another topic of this channel fast, and I'm going in on Nature Knot and his League of Doom. So I'll wait until a couple people check in first, and I'll get in the conversation. You know, sometimes when you're having a discussion like this conversation is not for, hey, T. Griffin, peace, 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 peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. Check on in. I'll wait until a few people check in before I start the discussion. Peace. Hey everyone. It is a beautiful day in the rising. Check on in. So anyway, I'm getting in on Nature Knot and his League of Doom, and he is facilitating a concentration camp for special needs children that are also special needs children, and also those who are psychologically struggling with some sort of mental psychoses. So we're going to get in that conversation. This isn't necessarily a love and light conversation for all my beautiful light workers and my love and light folks. This conversation isn't very love and light. So for those who are unable to handle some of the more lower field reptilians that are coexisting in the environment and me speaking to it, I would just suggest that this video is something that you kind of bypass, and that's okay, because you know we have more enlightening conversations otherwise. Okay, so we're gonna get in the conversation. Yeah, this being is not love and light. So yes, I want to make sure, because I always like to give a heads up to mommies. If you have children in the room, this conversation isn't necessarily something I want them to hear. So if you have little people as well, I would usher them out the room if you want to listen, or listen later with headphones or what have you, because this isn't something that I want the little ones to be exposed to, because I don't want them having nightmares about this reptilian in their dreams. So, you know, okay. So Nature Knot. Nature Boy, he calls himself, Eligio Bishop, the cult leader of the League of Doom, which he calls carbonation, which was previously known as melanation, is the conversation. And, you know, I thought I'd speak to it because if I get another inbox of people coming to me telling me, please, Fleur Brune, talk about this, because you were the first person who really brought up this dark demon that was coexisting. And yes, I dealt with him initially when he first started melanation, and I really appreciated the support and love that many people gave to those who eventually escaped the grips of this dark, governmentally implanted reptilian that was purposefully implanted in the communities in order to cause a trap for those who were just waking up, or those who are mentally unstable and unable to see past the perimeters of a governmental trap that was being set up. This is why. So let me start the conversation as, if you don't know who this being is, I will just say this. Please don't seek him out. This is a conversation. There's many other people posting things about him, and you can simply don't give him any more energy than necessary. Me speaking on this is speaking about how there are these governmental agents that are set out into specific communities and purposefully inserted in order to divert the proper attention in a healthy direction. What am I saying? This being called Nature Knot, Nature Boy, BKA Eligio Bishop, BKA Father Tahuti, BKA you know, underworld caretaker. He is something to basically, you should write a note to say to stay away from. You should have a repellent that repels these type of agents from allowing them in your consciousness or even in your mind state. Okay, so let me start off with this. There is a being that was inserted into the conscious community purposefully, and this is my opinion. I personally think that he was governmentally inserted into the community. I personally think he was grafted. He doesn't have any footprints of a background that we can remark as his family, because he's come from somewhere else where he does not have any almost like a clone, or like something was created in a laboratory. There isn't any blueprint to where he came from. He popped out of the blue. He actually jumped on a platform with young Pharaoh when young Pharaoh first was come on the conscious community, and he used that as a propellant to get him to a status where he would be allowed to get gain a greater following. I think you guys call it, there's a name you young people call it, I keep forgetting what it's called. Cloud chasing? Is it cloud busting or is it cloud chasing? What is it? Oh, it's cloud chasing. I'm sorry. It's a new term I've never heard before. It's just, it's almost like somebody's like, you know, it's, when people do things like that, we call them, remember that movie, the movie, what is it called? Single White Female. Remember that movie, Single White Female, when the woman was obsessed with the other woman and she followed everything she did. She dressed like her and so on. I said cloud busting. Welcome to the seasoned version of Flurburn. Cloud chasing. You know, it's a new term. I'm not in that world, so I just hear it from y'all when you say it. Okay, so remember he jumped on with young Pharaoh, and this being is a cut and paster. He will follow. He takes everything. He's a Google master. He follows everything from Google, all his information. He said books are the devil. He doesn't read, but he goes on Google to get all his resources. So he's taken pieces from every bit of everybody's background in the conscious community. Like he's taking pictures from my platform. He's taking pictures from Young Pharaoh's platform. He's taking pictures from RFG. He's taking pieces of Masters of the Earth. Big up to Masters of the Earth. That's where Nature Boy got most of who he is. He basically took on, yeah, he's a vampire, a parasite. Thank you, eyes to see. He's a vampire. He there's a person who's a YouTuber called Earth Master of Earth. He's amazing. He was like really into nature, talking about the breakdown of everything nature wise, how we're to engage naturally. He was amazing, very humble soul. He was on YouTube many years ago, and he hasn't made videos. Hopefully he's well. Masters of Earth, I think that's his name. Big up to him. He's actually what Nature Boy based his whole platform off of. He followed and basically took parts of his platform and took it on to himself and then called himself Nature Boy. Now, the fact that a grown man calls himself boy is a detail of his inability to grow up or to have an adult stance. Because if you put the frequency of boy on top of a man's general disposition on top of it, you stamp yourself with that frequency, it will denote that you have some you're still premature in the way you've developed. You know what I mean? He's still at a 36-year-old man, which I know he's actually in his 40s. That's my opinion. He actually still sucks his thumb, which is it's a sign of tragedy and it's a sign of trauma. When a 36-year-old man still sucks his thumb, it's a sign that he has been atrophied in his development and he's unable to go past a certain cap. So he still has certain coping mechanisms that would that he still utilizes when he's under stress and when he's feeling, or maybe sometimes when he's happy, he still sucks his thumb. It's a fact. It's nothing I'm making up. There's pictures of him sucking his thumb. I wouldn't make something like that up because I know that he's suffering from some sort of governmental, governmental, maybe some trauma from being raised to be a governmental agent. Okay. Why am I speaking about him? I'm going to go a little further, family. So this entity who has made a platform all based off nature, which is absolutely everything that he is in opposition of. He poops on trees. He said that he has to poop on trees because he's giving back his he calls it pot to the earth. He says it's his duty and everyone's duty to give back their soil to the earth. So he believes that pooping on trees and out in nature, out in the open, whether it's close to your home or not, is natural. This is what he states. Also, this being is someone who notably justifies that children that get molested, that it is good for them spiritually. This is all that what he stated publicly. It isn't anything I can make up. This is also someone who agrees with the suppression and the oppression of women because they are unable to think for themselves. Okay? This is the man's mindset. Okay, just giving you a little preempt if you don't know. Many of you know who we're talking about. So he's highly, yes, he's highly delusional. He's very abusive. And my concern is that he has now created a League of Doom, a cult, where he has now facilitating special needs children, people who are special needs, and people who are suffering from mental instability and mental ailments. 90% of the people that are now at his facility, which now looks like a concentration camp because he has shaved everyone's head off, just like in the Nazi camps. Because remember, when you shave people's heads off, you take away their identity. Okay, so we know that is a psychological tool that is utilized in part of the MK Ultra programs. When taking away someone's identity, they did it with the Native American men. As soon as they would capture them, they would shave off their heads to take away their identity so that they could fill them and condition them, and also program them to take on a new identity that was outside of what they previously knew to be. Okay, so we have this being who has now made an exodus into Mexico. To Palenque is the name of the town that he's located. He was previously kicked out of the country of Costa Rica because Costa Rica has ethics and morality, and they have some general requirements of sanity to be able to stay in their country, and actually healthy hygiene. So they kicked him out of Costa Rica. They actually kicked him out of is this buffering? Can anyone still see me? Is it buffering for anyone? Before I continue, I'm sorry if it's buffering. Okay, you can. Sorry. All right. I'm just setting up the picture, and this isn't a judgment. This is total observation. I've had the chance to speak to this being on numerous occasions, and I would tell you his mental state of being is that of a sociopath. He's highly oppressive and abusive to women. He has zero respect for women. His goal is to impregnate as many women and inject them with allegedly AIDS. Okay, allegedly. Listen to what I said, allegedly. Allegedly, this man is connected to having a couple viral viruses, and allegedly, according to people who left, one, which I will not state her name, has been tested positive for HIV. Okay, I will not state her name, and a lot of the other people don't know, but I'm not going to blow her spot because I think she deserves her privacy, and she shouldn't be subjugated to abuses or publicizing something, especially when she has a family. Okay, so allegedly. Notice I said that before. Allegedly, she's been infected with HIV, and she has claimed that she has gotten it from nature not. And he has also stated on his platform when I was on there, if many people know when I was on the show, the first thing he said when he was asking me a whole bunch of questions about my knowledge about homeopathic and naturopathic medicine, he also said, asking me questions after I said that you can't cure HIV or AIDS from just doing a B6 diet, he also stated and started to yell belligerently, HIV is a hoax, because he tends to project things in order to convince the populace that something that maybe allegedly he was diagnosed with is something that is unfortunately untrue, when we know for a fact that most likely there is something going on, as far as, because we know that people have come there and they've stated that they've had herpes and other venereal diseases, and because of that, and they're exchanging bodily fluids with each other, because they're all engaging sexually with each other. So as soon as he has brought in a female, regardless if it's going to be someone that's going to be he considered to be a wife, he makes sure that he injects her with the venom, with the venom. I'll call it that, because allegedly, you know what I just said. he forces them to have sex with them. Not forces them, let me state this. He isn't forcing anyone to come there. People are going there on their own accord and on their own free will. But remember, the majority of people that he's taking in are in my opinion, are special needs children that are grown up, that are lacking the mental capacity to be able to make sound decisions. Because if you listen to, I think, okay, I'm back. I get a long video. Let me go back. He is scouting people, young people that are unable to have the mental capacity to be able to decipher things, I feel, in a more conducive or a way, in a healthy adult who's matured, who has gained some wisdom and some clarity based on their ability to know right from wrong. He's recruiting young people that are mentally unstable. Now, I want to use the example that hold on. He already sent his minions here. Hold on. There we go. He's already sent out because he watches everybody's videos. This is another thing, just let you know how this is a governmental agent that comes in. What happens is that now the hive knows that I'm making a video on him live, so now he sends the hive in. So for any of my administrators, any of my admins on, can you make sure that you deal with any of the comments on here to make sure that any of his leagues of dooms, because they're going to come, there's quite a few of them, and remember, they're under the spell of this governmental agent. Remember, they've been under my control, some of them for over 3 years. So just know, because of that, they will come into the, let me see who I have on here. I'm going to make, because my admins, I think some of my admins aren't on yet. So let me hold on one second, family. Okay. Okay, female Drake, I made you administrator, okay? Because my admins are not on. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, he sends them on. I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay. There we go. So, he does recruit young women, especially young women. And one of the ways that he brings them in, because I'm going to go into the actual reason why I'm having this discussion, but I got to give you a setup. Some of you are not aware that there are people that are implanted in all communities, love and light community. You have people like, David Good, Corey Good, David Wilcock, that are set up in those communities as governmental agents set up to give you some truth and a lot of misinformation, and they're meant to steer the herd in a certain direction. So know this is very, very regular that they do this. This isn't something new. There isn't anything new under the sun. Okay, so I'm setting up the stage so that you understand and overstand what I'm sharing. Okay, so he recruits these young ladies. What he does is, because allegedly he has a viral disease that is something that Western medicine isn't, overtly curing, and he makes sure that he has sex with every woman that goes over to his compound. And why he does that is because he wants to make sure that the women, when he passes them on to the man, are also bringing over to the monster to the men. So he's allowing for that that venom that he's already injected in the females to go and circulate in his tribe, so that everybody has the same thing. Because remember, if he has something that's negative, he wants to make sure he shares it. He doesn't want to be alone in his darkness. He wants to share it with the whole group. Okay, so why I'm sharing this is because there was an incident that happened, a couple incidents that happened, and I wanted to speak to this because we need to be mindful as parents to really rear our daughters and our sons in a way that disallows for them to be susceptible to these type of demons. And what I say is that the mothers, there are many mothers who have special needs children, and one day they will grow up, and you want them to make healthy decisions, and you want to make sure that they're safe from beings like this. That's why he left the country, because the things that he's doing are illegal in this country. If he was here in this country, he would have to be held to a higher, even though the United States has its own issues, but we still have different standards than leaving the country. The things he's allowed to do in Mexico, that's why he matches where he is, are things that the government would be on his behind in here. Okay, for many of you don't know, also this man who calls himself a polygamist, who calls himself God, or Jesus Christ, he is a cult leader. But also, if a man really loves women, he could not have been a gay escort for 10 years. This man who is calling himself God was a gay escort, which is not allegedly, it was. He has, Pornhub has many of his gay films where he was engaging sexually with other men. So why would a man who has an affinity for men all of a sudden flip mode and sleep with women, and then not only sleep with them but also abuse them? And he also picks them very young. Okay, so there's a reason why a gay man who is not straight would all of a sudden create a whole community of young, misled, mentally handicapped people. Why would he have a whole platform, engaging in sexual activity, saying he is the alpha man? But alpha men don't have sex with other men. That is a fact. I know a lot of people would say that, but that is true. An alpha man is one who is hyper male and wants to mate with other females. He has slept with multitude of other men, and then all of a sudden, now that he has a community, the League of Doom, now he is sleeping with purely women. And you can tell he doesn't like women, because when men really engage and enjoy women, that they can pretty much be happy and contented with one or two. But he is obviously struggling with his own sexuality, which I know personally, this is my opinion, I personally think Eligio Bishop is a gay man who's struggling with that, and also has been paid, is a paid agent, governmental agent, paid to do exactly what he did, to infect any of the newly enlightened and awakened, those who are mentally unstable and incapable of having those who are incapable of being able to discern certain things from themselves, based on the fact that they're genetically, they have some sort of mental abnormality, which is okay. This is okay. There's no judgment. There's many mothers who have children that are special. And that's why I say I speak to the mothers, because we have to teach, every mother here has to teach your children, special needs or not, all children, that there are boogeymen out here. There are boogie women and boogie men, boogie people. And they are out here, and they will fish for you if you aren't on your P's and Q's. You must teach them that there are these beings out here who will speak many truths but whisper so many lies. You have to teach them that, because a lot of what's going on with this carbonation, this League of Doom over there, is happening because special needs children were not necessarily, I don't know that they weren't taught, because they've used their free will to go over there, but I feel like they weren't held close enough, and they weren't protected enough, so that they wouldn't be able to jump ship and go over and put themselves in harm's way, and be susceptible to joining a League of Doom, a concentration camp that is governmentally stimulated. And now you have babies being born over there. And big up to, there's a beautiful little baby. Her name is Eliana. She's beautiful. She is the child of Nature Knot and his special needs wife. He calls her his wife. She's a special needs Velvet, aka Eliana, aka what's her name? What's her other name? Nana. They shapeshift their names all the time. That baby is beautiful. And I personally think it is their karma to teach them how to act humanely. I personally think Eliana's little soul came here to teach them how to behave in a way she will illuminate to everyone, and actually show the parents that are not really parental, show them how to be better and successful people. I think she's having a hard time, Eliana. And big up to, and I want to say this, there was, you know, Velvet is one of Nature Knot's, he calls them wives. They're not married. There's no ceremony. He just, if he sticks his wand in you, he calls you his wife. This is the mental illness that I'm talking about, the sociopathic kind of mindset. He says if he sticks his wand in you, you're his wife, and as soon as he stops sticking his wand in you, you aren't his wife. This is how he details things. But he had picked a young woman who is obviously, you can tell by her her inability to articulate herself in a healthy adult way. She's very limited cognitively. You can tell because she parrots everything he says. She mimics his mindset and his verbiage because she isn't mentally capable of being able to articulate herself. She lacks intellectual status. You know, she's very limited intellectually. That's all I'll say. And it's not a disrespect. She's a special needs child. She has psychological issues. She may have been put on medication as a child, and that's my assumption. I don't know that otherwise, but I think because she's limited cognitively, she's put herself in a position where she is now under the guide of a demon. And also, because she's special needs does not mean she's a kind and nice person. She also has some malicious, very low field behavior in her own core that allows her to be in sync and frequency with that type of person as well. Okay, so we have a new baby on site. I wish her well. I hope she's successful, and I know that she's come here to teach the parents how to do something different. And I wanted to say big up to the young lady, the special needs young lady, Nana or Velvet. Her father and her stepmother actually went all the way to Palenque to retrieve their daughter because she was leaving messages to her father saying she was held hostage. This is what she told her father. You know, I didn't listen to this is not verbatim. Okay, so I'll tell you. She said she left messages for her father saying she felt that she was under hostage situation. She was not able to talk with her own free will. She was limited. The baby is not cohesive with the father, and the only time she stops crying is if she's not with her dad. I will say, listen, anytime a baby is crying continuously in the presence of another person, that is a sign that the baby is not in sync and details negativity with that person. I haven't seen her ever. I don't watch the videos, so I can't say for sure. Many of you probably know, but I have never seen the baby actually smile with the father in his presence or with the mother. I've seen her smile with other people, and I've seen her smile with Velvet's father, who actually came. Mr. Marquez actually went to retrieve his daughter from the League of Doom, try to free her from the concentration camp. And unfortunately, this agent, this governmental reptilian agent, Eligio Bishop, who is I personally think he's contracted by the government. That's my personal opinion. He made sure that he kept negating the scenario where the young lady, the special needs young lady, Nana, could actually be with her father alone enough so that the father could talk to her and actually see what was going on. And because she's so limited cognitively and she's under the mind control of this governmental agent, it was very difficult for her to even come in contact with her father without a sense of hostility. And again, she isn't a positive person. She is very limited cognitively, yes, but her personal disposition is negative. She is known in her own life to be a manipulator and a liar. She is also very conniving. She's very manipulative, like the person she's with. Remember, birds of a feather flock together. So regardless if he's recruiting special needs children and women and men, it doesn't matter. They're still in the frequency of him, because if you can stay in alignment with that type of being, it means you are that type of person. Okay. I don't know how much he gets as a stipend per month from the government, but I know personally, I think, it's my opinion, you notice I have to say it's my opinion, allegedly he is being paid by the government to uphold this to hold this position and to infect as many people possible with perhaps allegedly a man-made disease that we call HIV or AIDS. It's allegedly. We don't know for fact, but we personally think that he is, I think that he is a governmental agent. The father went over there to retrieve his daughter, wasn't allowed to be with her alone, and it wasn't necessarily nature not, but remember, he has the special needs person Nana under mind control, so she in herself doesn't even have a self-awareness, and she's so hell-bent on staying with her captive, which is a form of Stockholm syndrome. Any woman who's ever been abused, you know what this is. I will say this: any any woman, any woman who's ever been abused or beaten or subjected to forms of tyranny under someone else's guide knows that Stockholm syndrome is real. You will always empathize with your captive or the person who is abusing you based on enough of that happening over and repetitive over and over again. Yes, he's also says he's attracted to trans women. That's actually nature not says that as like a smoke and mirrors, because he's really attracted to men. So he knows that in the community that he comes from, that would be seen as negative in the community he comes from, which isn't necessarily negative. It would just be him actually keeping it real with himself. So he says he's attracted to trans women as a way to kind of soften the blow of what he truly is. He is a gay man who needs to be with, listen, if he wants to be with men, let him be with men. And why is he, when he was a stripper, yes, he was a gay escort stripper. He made gay porn, and now he is under the form of being a straight man, having multitude of women, which we know if he was really a straight man, he wouldn't have a hard time maintaining healthy relationships with women. It means he's struggling with his sexuality, and really in itself, he is a gay man who's cloaking himself because he's being paid by a government to be able to uphold a certain role in this social experiment called melanation, or now carbonation. And because he's trying to uphold this smokescreen so that he can lure more unfortunate souls, more special needs children, more people who are suffering from mental instability, he can lure them over there and infect them with allegedly a virus that basically has been known to kill many people, which in itself was obviously governmentally engineered. I don't say that it isn't a bioweapon that was engineered to purposefully do that, but he's been recruiting people and infecting them, and he is sleeping with the women, infecting them with the virus, and making sure he passes them to the men, so everybody there is all one and the same. Okay? Why do I share this? My status is I share these things with a sense of trying to expose something that needs to be addressed within our own communities, in our own social dynamics. And like I said, there are many parents who have children that are mentally unstable, many children who are mentally handicapped, and one day they will grow up. And this is something you need to look at and see what it is, and teach your children how to protect themselves and how to be able to discern things that are fact from fiction, be able to discern people who are totally negative and utilizing them for their own selfish needs, and be able to discern picking people and partnerships that are healthy for you. It's necessary. And I would be just as guilty if I did not speak what I see as something unhealthy. Most of us have children on here. So regardless if your children are special needs or just children of any type or capability, you want to teach your children to be able to protect themselves when they become adults, especially if they're a little more limited cognitively, because it makes them more susceptible for infiltration and for vampires and parasites to take them and make them do as they will. He is now, oh, hold on, family. I had my battery on this whole time. You have a child who's special needs? There you go, Corrine. And this is important for Corrine, for you to see, and all the mommies to see. We need to see this because we want them to grow up, all our children, we want our children to grow up so healthy and so free and be able to feel like they'll be protected and they'll make good decisions. But when you see that there are children out here, special needs children, that are growing up into adults that are not quite adults, to so to speak, right? They're still limited in the way that they're able to discern reality from non-reality, or discern people's true intentions, that they can get caught up with the League of Doom, like you're seeing with the League of Doom. He's taking people's children. Now, mind you, let's not take responsibility. The children are also choosing to go over there, and some very limited adults are choosing to go over there. But can we say it's choice if they're limited cognitively? Can we say it's really choice if they're not able to think and make good decisions for themselves? Should we not have a government here in the United States making sure that children, special needs that grow up into adults, are not protected at the highest degree because maybe they need a little assistance whenever they're in situations like this, when they're unable to see what things are? We need that. We need to have that protection for them. And if something outside of us cannot do that, then we have to do it for ourselves. Teach them. You know, one thing my mother did not share with me, and that's the only thing, and that's why I married a Nazi. My mommy didn't tell me that there were devils out there. I grew up in a very shielded world where my parents didn't really share with me that there were men that were parasites and vampires that utilize women for their energy, and that they can utilize you or get with you to take advantage of you. So when it was time for me to choose a mate, I didn't have a lot of boyfriends. I had one boyfriend before I got married. I didn't have a lot of boyfriends. I chose somebody that was very cruel and mean. And, you know, thus later on, you know, you bring out all these other issues. But if they had taught me that there's a devil out there, they protected me, and they just basically said, you know, be careful, and they kept me coddled. But I should have known this. I should have known that there are men like that. I should know that there are men that take advantage, or women that take advantage of men. I should have known that. I was not taught that. So it's very necessary, especially, and I talked to the special needs because remember, my mother, why do I care? My mother was a special, how do I recognize that Velvet is a special needs child? How do I recognize that Aya is a special needs child? What's the other one? All of the women over there, how do I recognize their special needs? And why do I say it? I don't say it as a dagger. You know why I don't say it? Because my mother was a special needs teacher for over 30 years. Oh, a special needs teacher for over 30 years. Okay? So meaning I can recognize children that are limited cognitively even when they become adults. Okay? And because of that, I can say to you that I know for a fact that the majority of women over there, if not all, are special needs children that grew up that are incapable of making sound decisions for themselves. And that's why you need to make sure that for mothers right now, make sure that you keep power of attorney over your children, even if they turn into adults. Make sure that you set up a system of you know, a net that allows for them that as soon as something like this shows up, you believe it. Okay? Because this man, Nature Not, was putting out all these singles. Yeah, she's grown. She's grown as heck. All of them are grown. We're not saying that. All of the women that go over there are grown. They all made their own decision to go over there. Yes, they did. I will not take away from their own sound decision. They all made the decision. But how sound is it based on their mental incapacity, their mental they were incapacitated in the way that they were able to make choices. This is all I'm saying. You know, we don't want to take away, because people are like, they grown, they made the decisions, they staying over there on their own. Yes, they are. I don't disagree. I agree with that. But are they grown mentally? You know what I mean? Are they grown? They may be grown physically. Yeah, I is 30 something. Yeah, they're grown all kinds of physically. But I'm saying mentally, are they grown? You have a guru, a man calling himself a guru, who was an escort, gay escort for over 10 years, meaning that he is a gay man. He was a gay escort that has created a state in. Hello, I'm sorry, the phone overheated. I was getting too deep into the conversation and overheated, but it's gonna be those coming in who are just listening. They're gonna, am I still here? Can you guys see me at this point? Can you just, how do I know if you could see me? Okay, you may be here and don't even know I'm here. Okay, okay, is everybody here? Okay, you're back. Okay, is everyone, okay, you're back. I'm back, everyone. I'm sorry. My phone, my phone overheated. Remember, I was sitting out in the full on sun. I don't notice that it's hot because I like the heat, and also I'm fasting. Because remember, this is my 15-day of fasting, so you know, during my fast, I can actually, and I can actually love the heat. I like feeling the sunlight on me. Okay, so family, I think I ended with, I have some resolve. Just like, thank you, I appreciate it. This is my 15th day. And I am actually at the end of this video, I'm gonna give a challenge to Nature Not, because he likes to challenge people, and he wants to challenge little girls who don't have any, mental capability of being able to protect themselves. So I want to challenge him at the end of this video, okay? So let me state this. Like I was stating before, what is the reason for this video? I always want to give a reason why I'm doing it. I want to give some help to those who are raising special needs children, and children, just every child, okay? Because I think that what we're seeing, we should take this as a lesson, seeing this man being sent out there and him fishing for people who are mentally incapable of protecting themselves and having proper sense. And like I said, there are many people who will say, well, these are grown people going over there. And I agree with you. These are grown people going over there making decisions. My thought of that, why don't you listen to the young lady speak? If you listen to Aya, she's very slow. She has a hard time articulating herself. She's very limited cognitively. It isn't a disrespect. My mother raised special needs children for over 30 years, and I was in her classroom, and I as well. I also taught special needs. So I can see it from a clear distance without judging it in such a heinous way. There isn't anything negative about being a special needs child. There there isn't anything negative about discovering or speaking about children that require, who turn into adults who require more help. You would say, if it was a child that's autistic or a child that had Down syndrome, would you disagree that if Nature Not took a Down syndrome child, let's state this, because a lot of you don't realize whether a child has Down syndrome or autism on a certain spectrum, or there's somebody who looks seemingly normal but who's limited cognitively, it's all the same. So if we saw a Down syndrome child over there in Carbonation, would you feel it was righteous, or would you feel they were grown people making sound decisions? Would you? Would you feel if it was a Down syndrome person that he recruited and was having sex with, calling them his wife, would you feel that was righteous? Would you feel that was okay because they were grown? Let's say it's a person who has Down syndrome who's now in their 20s or in their 30s. Would you feel they made that sound decision being with a man that was acting in this way? No. There isn't anybody on here who could say that. So we have to see the fact that they look like they're grown because they're, sorry. Okay, there are a lot of people who are born, sorry, who grow up and they have wonderful support when they're in the school system. They have wonderful support from their families. But as soon as they reach a certain age, remember, there's a little, families give a little leniency. And also, you have to take into consideration having a special needs child is very taxing. Why do you notice that it's Velvet's child is very taxing? Why do you notice that it's Velvet's father that came to Palenque to get him and not her mother? Okay, why do you think that is? Because you aren't realizing that I agree. I agree. It's sad to see people with mental disabilities being sucked in. It's taking advantage of someone. So I wanted to give some resolve to this because, again, I never want to give you something without giving you some resolve. I'm really big on we don't just talk about the problem, we take care of the problem. Okay, so for mothers now who are seeing this, would nature not? I wanted mothers now who are seeing this, would nature not? I want to give you a resolve. There's something you can do when your children are young, and I want to give you the actual name. I'll probably give the print. I'm actually going to maybe post it on here later. And I talked to my mom about this, so she knows more. So you can take onus over your child when they're adults so that you can still protect them and have legal protection. And I would say this for Mr. Marquez. I'm giving this to Mr. Marquez, and I know that him and his wife, and I really apologize for really judging him for not going over sooner. I realize why he didn't. He was waiting for this his special needs daughter to tell him when to come and come get her, and she did, and he came, and she obviously changed her mind based on her suffering from Stockholm syndrome. I understand, and I really apologize, Mr. Marquez, if I wasn't as empathetic, and I really was upset that the parents weren't stepping in earlier. I know how difficult it is, and I apologize. I think it was very harsh for me to make that harsher judgment. So I will say this: I think it was commendable that you went to go get your daughter. I'm very sorry that she is incapable of making sound decisions based on the fact that she is already under the tutelage of someone who is instructing mind control programs that have been instructed by him to do by a governmental system that's probably set him up to purposefully get a lot of children of color in this type of mindset. So I apologize for that. Okay, so let me state this. There's a way when you have your young children. Now, this is for all the moms who have children that are autistic, who are have an IP in their classrooms, who are suffering from, even if most people who have autism, children with autism usually get this from the counselors. They usually let you know this previously. Also, Down syndrome parents also know this as well. They usually have this information privy to it. But for anyone who has a child on the spectrum, or a child that is mentally, limited, just limited, meaning that they have a hard time deciphering things, limited cognitively for whatever reason, I would suggest you get I think it's a proxy or a become power of attorney over them. This would disallow this type of, even if they're adults and they leave the country to be with a stranger, or they decide to go and live with someone that is abusing them, this gives you a right legally to be able to get proper paperwork to be able to extradite them from any unsavory situation like what we're perceiving now. Now, Mr. Marquez, I would state to you to go see an attorney. I know it costs money, and I know that you were able to get donations, and I would say this is the one time I think it's very healthy if people wanted to donate for him to get an attorney to be able to get power of attorney over her, because she is not in the proper mindset. And people are going to disagree, because I think Velvet is a very negative person. I think she isn't a nice person, but if she didn't have that beautiful chocolate drop, this wouldn't be a conversation you would hear from me. I would let her just do it because she's done some dirt. So I'm not a fan. She isn't my cup of tea, Velvet, because she's done dirty things. I could care less how much she is limited cognitively. Her core behavior and who she truly is negative. That's why she matches nature not. But for that beautiful baby that's so fresh and born, this is the advocacy that I will extend to a father who wants to save his granddaughter. Okay, his granddaughter. Listen to me. So I would suggest you, Marquez, and I asked for advice on this, that you go to to a lawyer. You can get power of attorney over Velvet, yeah, she is worse than nature not. She is. She's what she did to Mama Dia, I can never forgive. Like that, I know more than many will ever know about that, and I can't speak about it because it's so bad that it's something that even in the ET community she isn't right. And this is where mentally handicapped people go too far and they do something heinous. And that's why, you've heard stories where mental handicapped people have killed people. You've heard of mentally handicapped people killing animals. Sometimes that happens because they're not all the same, and they're not all reared in a way where they're able to have a certain level of empathy or compassion for others. She's one of those. She's on that spectrum. Okay, so this isn't for her. This is for a daddy who loves his granddaughter and daughter and want to save at least the grandbaby. And I'm extending this. And this is also for other mothers who require for their children to be protected, because I think we don't know how to do things unless we get confronted by it. Okay. Sometimes we don't get confronted by learning these things. I told you, my parents didn't teach me things. A lot of things I had to learn on my own. Okay. And they loved me. And I was a daddy's girl. So, also I have compassion for a father who extends himself. So, yeah, she is a girl who cried wolf, but she doesn't, we're not talking about giving her a crutch, because you already know how I feel about her. I don't think I've ever hidden that. Matter of fact, if she just wanted to stay there and the baby would be able to be taken and taken care of, I think that would probably be the best deal. But she needs a psychological evaluation, and I'm giving Mr. Marquez some intel that would allow him to have a lawyer go and pull up to have paperwork brought up, because she's still a United States citizen and it is his daughter, and he did have custody of her previous to her leaving. So I would ask Mr. Marquez, and this is for everyone who has a special needs child, I would suggest you do this before they become teenagers and adults. This would protect you and give you the right to make sound decisions for them if they're doing something that is harmful to them, or perhaps a child that they end up having. Okay, so you can go to a lawyer, you can have papers drafted up. I think it gives you power of attorney. It's also it's a proctor. I'll get the name. My mother told me what the name is, a proctor. It gives you the right to have your child taken from a situation, extradited from a situation, and get a psychological evaluation. And also, because she has a child, there is concern for the child's health too. So again, family, if you know me, this isn't about velvet. This is about the babies, okay? Because at the end of the day, it is just tragic to see children, little babies being brought into scenarios. And if you know anything about the brown community, every community, but especially brown community women, one thing that they call it, the reason why they always called us big mamas, the reason why you always saw a brown nanny pulling in everybody else's child is because that is part of the core of who we are in our nature. We're big people. That's why the brown grandmother is always the one taking care of all the babies. It is in our core nature to be protective of not only just our babies, but of others. It is in our villages, that's what we did. So that is who we are. We take care of everyone's child, and it doesn't matter. You take a little lunar baby, drop them in the middle of the hood, I guarantee you there would be 20, 30 mamas or men bringing them to Big Mama's house to take care of that baby until the authorities were taken care of. I can say it because I've seen it. So it's who we are, and I'm unapologetic about caring about somebody else's baby because I've been reared like that. I came from a mother who was the most compassionate woman who's taught many, many children with special needs, and I've had the privilege of sitting in my mother's classroom and teaching myself. So this is coming from a placement of love and concern, and there is some judgment based on the reprehensible behavior of the parents, but not from that little baby. She deserves so much better, and I want her to be successful. And when I saw and witnessed that little beautiful baby called Eliana lie in her grandfather's arms and look at him with such love and adoration and safety, I knew in my heart and soul, if there was something that I knew, if there was something that I could extend, if there is a way that I could help her, I was going to do so. That is where I stand, and I am unapologetic about it. Okay, so this is, again, we will state this again, for the father, Marquez, if someone can tell you, what did you say, beautiful Fabron, you were on at 10:30 when I was at PT and I waited. I got home and you're still on. Yeah, it kind of paused for a little bit. So you got me a little longer. And I'm actually calmer than I normally would be. I'm on my 15th day of my water fast. So I wanted to extend that for all the parents. Because again, a lot of us as parents, there's things we don't know until we come upon it. So I'm giving you a preempt as a teacher, a facilitator myself, and my mother being so, and she suggested it. So big up to my mommy, who was a teacher of special ed children. And I told you that Nature Not in a League of Doom called Carbonation, they are recruiting special needs children, and he is utilizing them in a mind control program that I personally think is being stimulated by the government. I think he is being, this is my opinion, and this is allegedly, he is being paid by the government to uphold this experimental group, almost like a concentration camp. And that's why they shaved their heads off, so it makes them more mind controllable, because he took away all their identity. But it was stimulated by him allegedly beating up, pulling out one of Eliana's dreads. And then because he didn't want anybody to talk about it, because he does lives all day, because that's the kind of dad he is, he would prefer to stay on lives all day than to take care of his children and his village. This is what he does. So he shaved everybody's heads off so she wouldn't look isolated and people wouldn't talk about it. This is the type of manipulating reptilian we're talking about. And it's sad. Yeah, your antennas. He had them shave it all off because he pulled one out of her hair and he didn't want anybody talking about it. This is my opinion. And because he did that, he wanted to take off everybody's, because that was part of her beauty. Hair is also something that women, lend to their beauty. So, do I like Velvet? No. Do I respect her? Absolutely not. Do I have any good things to say about her? Absolutely zero. Do I think she's a good mother? Zero. Do I think that she has potential in the future? Possibly. I just personally want the best for all babies on this planet. I think every baby has the opportunity to be successful if we all take a part in facilitating some assistance to make that happen. Many of us are sick, and I said us. I'm not taking myself away from that. Many of us are sick. Many of us have been conditioned to be non-empathetic. Many of us have been sick through foods, through conditioning, through television, through being positioned in places where we have handlers creating coups and parasiting off of us. Yes, many of us are sick. So we take that position that many of us are suffering from some form of MK Ultra, mind control, agent infiltration, GMO foods, chemtrails. There's a host of things going on the planet, but it doesn't mean when you know better, you have to do better. Yeah, it was a ritual why they cut off the hair. That's another thing. Thank you, visionary. You're absolutely thank you for the reminder. Cutting off the hair was a ritual, and he gave it as a sacrifice. And if you remember after that, what I denoted, as soon as he did that sacrifice with the hair, how did he know how to do a ritual if he's so oblivious to metaphysics and all that? How is nature not oblivious to that? You know why? Because he did a ritual. And if you notice, after he did the ritual, all of these people on YouTube that were going for the heads of Nature Not, they all started to fight each other. All the women started to say nasty things about each other and fight each other. He did a ritual. He did a ritual to cause disharmony for those who are coming against him and create confusion. How did he know how to do that ritual? And as soon as he did that ritual, all of the people that were coming at his head were all fighting with each other to give a distraction. Do you think that as above, so below? Do you think the government, do you think that people are not teaching him to do that? Do you think, how would he know that? And one of, big up to Dana Vudun Creole, she said it's because it's one of the demons inside of him who knew how to do the rituals, because we know that he's plagued with all kinds of he has a demon infestation based on his low field behavior and doing all those sex rituals, and he drinks. So he's always drinking wine and spirits every night, keeping the infestation of demons happy. The League of Doom. That's why I call them the League of Doom. Would it be out of integrity to send them strength and love? I like to get permission first. I don't know that. My position is I used to do that. I used to send love and light to people who are heinous. I don't do that, because all it does is take away from their karmic debt. This is what I personally think. I leave targets where they belong. If someone's done dirt, then they get dirt. Okay, so I leave it where it belongs. I would say for the babies who are presumably innocent, I say presumably because remember, the baby that chose to come there is coming there for a reason. So I would say more so to send it for the innocence of the child or the children there to protect them. That's what I would say. That's my personal opinion, and that's what I do. I refrain from sending love and light to people who do heinous things. It's like saying this man just murdered a child or molested a child, and you're sending love and light to them to give them reprieve, to give them, you know, to ease the pain. They weren't easing the pain off the neck of that child, were they? So I leave that target on people, but I will definitely extend beautiful energy to the wonderful babies of this world, all babies, okay? Because I think a lot of times they're being used as ways to pull in. He's using this baby as a way to pull in donations, okay? Okay, so I said at the end of the video, I will state this. I am issuing a challenge, so we can say that aloud. I am issuing a challenge not only to Nature Boy, but to any of the conscious community, any of them. They don't have to be negative, be positive. Because I noticed something that's going on with the conscious males in the brown community. They have a lack of self-restraint, and I want to challenge them. And I think this is something that us as the women of this community and as the women of many of the communities need to start doing, because they like to talk a lot of smack. They like to tell you a lot of things. They like to read a lot of books. They like to tell you how to live your lives. They even like to tell you how to utilize your yoni and how you should be sharing it with all the men, even though the men are not, or share it with them, but they share their wands with everyone. So I'm giving a challenge, okay? Because I think it's only fair. If I talk about it, I got to be about it. And also I can only talk from the position that I am challenging any one or few of the men in the conscious community, all the brown men, or any lunar man can join us, but I'm talking to the brown men because they're touching the conscious community, okay? And number one is Nature Boy, Eligio Bishop. This is a challenge for you. I challenge you to go on a water fast and a sex fast for 30 days. You call yourself Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was meek. He was humble. He was able to sacrifice food and sex and physicality for at least that, according to you, right? So I challenge all but number one, Nature Not, for a challenge of abstaining from sex for 30 days and abstain from food and any sort of eating for 30 days, a water fast. I'm on a water fast. I only challenge from the position I am. 30 days, I challenge any one of you, and proof of it, because a lot of times you can see the proof because you already see me melting. Svelting. Actually svelting. I challenge you, Nature Not, to go 30 days without food or sex. If you call yourself the Christ, Christ wouldn't have a problem showing up and being a proper teacher and upholding himself in a great and ultimate position of being able to show his students that he has the capability to having self-restraint like any master would. Anyone who's mastered anything can master themselves first. And part of mastery is being able to master your own physicality. I challenge you. A water fast 30 days that's documented, and 30 days of zero sex. That's my challenge. Let's see if he'll take it. You know, everybody wants a challenge to do something, you know, that doesn't require anything of them, anything that they want to do. Let's challenge them for something that we know that they struggle with. Let's see how master teacher he is. Let's see if he could be celibate for 30 days. I'm not asking him to show and prove. I'm asking for all of the conscious community. Any of the brown males who take this challenge. I challenge all of you. 30 days, zero food, zero sex. I bet you, and I bet you if they're able to do it, their minds will be expanded and they will be able to see from a position, and all those demons won't be fed anymore. Because the reason why Nature Not probably can't do it is because he's an alcoholic and he requires wine and spirits to keep those demons happy. So let's see if he can be the teacher that he deems and the guru that he says, because any master can master themselves first. And if you call yourself a god, then by all means, you should be able to show up as a god in a physical way. So that's my challenge. So again, this video was just to give a little bit of a synopsis on the current thing going on. This is my 15th day of my water fast. I'm very grateful to be here now. Thank you for all the support. All of you have been so supportive, so beautifully. I appreciate it. It's so necessary sometimes to do this and reset your body. I've learned so much about myself. It has humbled me. It has taught me a lot about the shadows that I still have and struggle with. It has also taught me to be more humble in the way that I show up in the world, and I'm grateful for it. And that is why I can institute this challenge. This challenge is not to make anyone fail. It is to encourage winning. That's what it is. Encourage winning. So, they'll let me know. This is Flurburn. You know what to do. Day 2. Thank you. Michelle's fasting. Congratulations, Michelle. Day 2. Congratulations. I know you're feeling good. Keep it up. Feel good. Keep empowered. Keep hydrated. Keep positive thoughts. Know that the end of whatever goal you have is always right around the corner. Know that you can eat at any time, but this is a part to reset your body. It's a beautiful time, okay? Day 6 of your fast, mighty, look at my fasting warriors here. My fasting warriors are also challenging you to do. Look at these beautiful, wonderful sea stars and sun stars fasting. This shows their amount of love they have for self. It also shows that they have self-mastery. Because in order to fast, you have to master your mind, because it's all in your mind. A lot of the things that we struggle with are all here. They start here and then it manifests. Remember, Nature Now will talk about, oh, it's all about the food. It's all about, oh, everything is in your mind. It starts in your mind. I agree. So let's see if you're a master teacher. Let's see if you're worthy of anyone following you. I institute, again, a challenge for you to drink 30 days of no food. Listen, I'm Flurbrune. 30 days. This is my halfway point. 15 days, 0 food. Proof is in the pudding and how I look and how I feel. And my little ones can confirm and tell you that mommy has only drank water for 15 days. Not an ounce of food has come in my mouth or my palate. And I am still here. My mind is still grand. I'm expanding. I'm expounding. And that challenge is to you. Let's see if he takes it. And I would like to, he's going to say, oh, because he gets defensive. Nature Boy, all you're going to do is say to everyone, oh, she's calling everybody retarded. I never use that word. It is disrespectful to call people retarded. I would never, ever call anyone's child retarded, and I would never call an adult that, because I've sat in a classroom with children who struggled to be able to be normal in a world that wasn't kind or empathetic. I know what it is for a child to sit in a classroom and feel like they were unworthy. And even sometimes their families felt that they were unworthy to be there. I sat there and encouraged them and walked them through the steps. So I would never, ever call anyone retarded. That is absolutely abusive, and it's absolutely uncalled for. So don't even lie and go tell people I want to state that, because he said that last time I called people retarded. It isn't something that would ever come out of my mouth. My mother wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it. We love those babies my mother raised over, oh my God, hundreds of children successfully in that classroom who had better self-esteem because they came within the room with a mother that was my mother, who created the person that I am today. So I would never use that word. That is a disrespectful word. That is something that should never be said. And no child should be stigmatized with that. Everyone comes as they should. And everyone learns at a different degree. What I'm saying is that you recruit special needs children that are adults now, because you know that you can dominate over them and you know that they're mind controllable. That's what I'm saying. You utilize them for your own perverted needs and you're a parasite. That's what I'm saying. I'm not bringing any angst to them. Velvet is another thing. She's very negative, regardless of what she is. But that is absolutely uncalled for to do that. Let's see if they take the challenge. I'm calling for an email, because they watch my videos. Or if not, their girlfriends watch my videos. And it's not me being smug. It's me being confident. 30 days, 0 food, only water, a water fast. Don't talk about it, be about it. If you're a master, anybody can be a master at reading books and regurgitating it and basically never living life and gaining wisdom. We could talk about it all day. I could talk about fasting all day if I've never done it. But if you have the fortitude, if you have the strength, if you have the self-awareness, if you have the self-restraint to be able to master your own body, that is somebody you follow. That is somebody you not follow, but that you admire and you may want to mimic. Okay? If I see someone who is in sports and they practice every morning and then they change their diet so that they can be more efficient and working out or doing something, that's somebody I'm motivated by. That's someone I can say can teach me how to be more stringent and how I show up in the world, or how I apply certain healthy nutrition to make myself healthier. That's who I want to be about. Oh, I sound like a Catholic priest? Big up to all the Christians who celebrated Ishtar yesterday. If you truly celebrated Easter or Ishtar, you should have been having sex all day until you went blind. Does that sound like a Catholic priest? Because remember, bunnies don't lay eggs. But bunnies, if you ever, I had bunnies. I had a whole bunch of bunnies in my house. Bunnies have sex all day. They reproduce at like a massive rate. Bunnies laying eggs. That's Ishtar. Ancient Babylonian god. Did any of you know that? Many of you know that already. Fertility. You want to have babies? You should have had sex yesterday, all day. I need to have discipline. It teaches water fast. It's not just it's everything in our lives that teaches us discipline. But I notice a lot of times in the pseudo conscious community, you have a whole bunch of brown males that sit there and do lectures all day. They want to battle each other all day, try to break down somebody else's knowledge and say that they know everything. But I noticed something: they lack self-restraint. They're all saying they're polygamous means they can't control their wand. A man who can control his wand is a master, because the wand is something on the outer perimeters of your body that's stimulated by everything if you're not mastered of yourself. Okay? Anyone who raised boys knows this, right? You teach your boys how to master their bodies so they're not stimulated by everything. Okay? So all these men talking about they read books all day, they want to battle each other. When have you ever heard them fasting for 30 days or 10 days? When have you ever heard them restraining from sex for over a year? From abstaining from sex, rather. When's the last time you heard one of these scholars, these internet scholars, these supposed gurus? When is the last time you heard them? Nothing's wrong with polygamy. Okay, I didn't say anything's wrong with it, but why is everybody polygamous now? And if polygamy was okay, why wouldn't women want to jump into it? Like, hey, oh, me. Where's all the women that want to jump in? How many women do you know who call for polygamy? Okay, maybe one or two. How many women, is compared to the men, how many women that if it's a natural system that is from ancient times, women would have the proclivity to want it the same amount and to the same degree as men. It is fact. Our inner world will tell us that we desire polygamy and we will seek it out. It isn't normal and it isn't healthy because women don't have the natural proclivity to want it to the same degree as men. Patriarchy has created a new system to keep a foothold on the female because we're going into our divine cycle. So now they've created a whole terminology to further indicate their lack of self-restraint. I love men. I think you men are some of the most beautiful creatures on earth. I love to see you in your paralysis, strong and sexy. I am attracted to you. But it doesn't mean that I want to sit on everyone I come in contact with. You know why? Because I have self-esteem and I have self-restraint. And I have mastered my physicality. So even if I want to have sex with a man, I can withhold that, suppress it to a certain healthy degree until one of my same frequency and same vibration matches me, and then I can proceed as necessary. That's self-mastery. A lot of these men are not reared. Okay, so let me say this. The majority of men that are polygamous, I can guarantee this. And tell me if I'm wrong. Because one thing, I studied clinical sciences and people's behavior. So tell me if I'm wrong. Majority of men that call themselves polygamous, I can guarantee they did not have a mother they liked or were not reared by mothers that were kind and loving or even present. Listen to what I said. Listen to what I said. I said the majority of men who are proclaimed polygamous, I can guarantee, why can I guarantee this? Because I know where it's coming from. I can guarantee that the majority of men that are calling themselves polygamous were not loved by their mothers or their mothers were on drugs or weren't around, meaning they were neglected or rejected, and or they didn't have a mother at all. I can put that on someone's life. That's where they're getting this yoni hoarding. They didn't get love from their mother. It's mother issues. Men who have mother issues will hoard yonis. Mothers, pay attention to your sons. I tell you this all the time. Tell them you love them. Take them out with you alone without the other children, each son. Give them the personal attention, because if you don't, they will grow up to be men who are womanizers who can't get enough love from one because they didn't get enough from their mothers. That's psychology, clinical psychology 101. Men who hoard women did not get loved properly by their mothers. Let any polygamist come and debate me on that, because I'll give them facts that would embarrass them and it will shame them. I don't want to hurt their feelings. That's a fact. The most loving men that you will meet were doted on by their mothers. Not to an unhealthy degree, but they were loved by their mothers. And when they get with a woman, they honor that woman, and they get with the woman that they really are in love with. They can't not be with the woman that they love. So nurture your children. Nurture your boys, both children. But if you, mother, are telling your little boy he's a piece of crap, you're never going to be good enough, you're like your father, you look like your dad, or you're prioritizing grown men over your sons, you will pay for that by seeing your son display ways with other women that you say you didn't rear him to be like. Your cold-hearted and non-connective responses to your child will show up in their future choices of how they interact with their mates. Love your boys. I tell you this all the time. It's not enough, especially in the brown community. I see more mothers. I've sat in a doctor's office where a little boy wanted snacks. The mother had her hair all done, weave all done, nails done, looked like she came straight out of Fifth Avenue. Her son didn't even have lotion on his knees. His clothes were ripped. His had snot coming out his nose. She's eating something she didn't want to share with him and ate in front of her son. I watched that. I took my orange out of my purse while I was sharing with my little one and gave him and asked if I could give him oranges, and she let me give her son oranges. And he came over and sat next to me. You mothers need to learn not to neglect your sons. It will show up in their sexual dispositions and how they mate when they get older. How do I know this? Because I'm a woman of a certain age and I've seen it every single time. It is not, people say, oh, my son didn't grow up with his father. He doesn't require, the strongest animals, the strongest in the animal kingdom, females, matriarchy, don't require a male. But if you put that as a victim mode on your son and your daughter, you will create a problem. Healthy mothers raise both males and females properly in the animal kingdom. It is a fact. A mother bear will raise both males and females, and the males and females will be properly raised, and they will be able to sustain themselves healthily and independently in the wild without having any issues. That is not the problem. You have women out here who will use the excuse that the father's not in the house. It is not normal. If a father isn't healthy, he shouldn't be in the house anyway. He might have only been for mating. You might have only required him to give you offspring. Him being healthy is all on you. Is all on you. Neglecting your child because you work too much, that is an excuse. Don't have them if you can't take care of them fully. Don't have them. Too many neglected boys are coming out here, and you wonder where you get predators like Nature Not. You wonder where you get other polygamous bastards like that guy sitting in the forest. What's his name? I forgot this man's name. He's another predator who talks about raping women. You wonder where you get these men. I can go back in history, and this is how good I am clinically. I can go back in history and tell you ask each one of these men, how do you feel about your mother? If they're calling their mothers by their first name, it means the mother was not their mother. And chances are the majority of these men who are so-called polygamists were raised by their grandmothers. And that is not proper. Grandmothers, you're doing a wonderful job. Abuelas, you're doing a wonderful job. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you are not the parent to that child. The child knows the difference between grandmother and mother and father. Sorry, I'm not wearing bras. Do you understand me? A child knows the difference between its parent and its grandmother. Sorry, I have to fix myself. I'm braless. I can't challenge all the conscious community to not wear bras. Okay? King Noble, that's the clown. King Noble, that's another clown. King Noble, you're sick. You justify, where's your mother? How you feel about your mother, King Noble? You say raping women is righteous if you want to take them? That's part of black power? You're sick. You're a sicko. And you probably came from a sick dynamics too. Where's your mother? Remember, the tree, I can tell a fruit by the tree it came from. Every single time. I can meet a child and know exactly what parental situation is at home. You see half these people. Remember that young lady cursing on what's her name's page, talking about what's her name, Jazzy G, talking about her children, calling them fat, talking about how nasty she was with her children, talking about someone's child. Did you see that young lady talking about women's children? All that kind of thing, while she's cursing and twerking her behind with her child walking past her. Remember that video? I don't know if many of you saw it. There was I don't know the woman's name. She's some sort of I don't know who she is. She was talking about another woman's child, Jazzy G's children, calling them names. What kind of beast mode is that? Talking about someone else's child while you're twerking your behind on a video with people witnessing it with your children walking around. That is what we're talking about. That's the type of mother will have a son doing all kinds of heinousness. That's the kind of mother. She could say any different. Let's tag a toe when you get older. Let's see your footprints. Your footprints are your children. Let's see your footprints when you get older, when those children get older. Cursing in front of your children, I don't care if they're 0 to 100, is disrespectful. And you are teaching your children not to respect themselves, and they're not even honorable for you to even withhold. That's a lack of self-restraint. People who can't stop cursing, that's a lack of self-restraint. That's why me giving this 30-day water challenge will go untouched. You know why? Because when people can't even control how they're verbally expressing themselves, they probably can't control their physicality, and is why they're probably promoting polygamy. So who said polygamy is righteous again? Please speak to me again. I've never known a faster, someone who has self-restraint sexually, ever want to be a polygamist. Show me that. Give me the anomaly of somebody who's super faster who is a polygamist. Every polygamist I know, I look at who they're polygaming with, and they're very limited, or they're very young. Polygamy is a form of a reversal of a time when queens only existed on earth, and that's what they used to do. It is more natural for a woman to mate with the strongest male, and when another strong male comes, she will mate with him as well. I don't know if it's sex addiction. I don't know if it's sex addiction. I don't really think it's sex addiction. I don't think these people are necessarily. I think Nature Knot is sick, mentally and physically. I think he's sick. But the other ones, I don't think it's sex addiction. I really don't. I like to give them that title, but I don't think so. I think it's more of lack of self-restraint and lack of self-esteem. Because a man who actually loves properly, who's been loved properly, isn't necessarily in sync with polygamy. He will fall in love with a woman so healthy, and he'll be so hell-bent on keeping her happy and being happy within that system. That is more healthy. And people say, oh, the majority of brown men cheat. First of all, there isn't any such thing as cheating, okay? There's such thing as lying, okay? Cheating, okay? We know what we get with, but the majority of relationships aren't being based on righteous positions of picking. You're picking mates that aren't alchemically right for you, and you're picking people for monetary reasons. You're picking people because people who pick people for the right frequency and are right and right vibration, there isn't any of that. It's a healthy give and take. When you see these women, and I come from that field, who pick all these NBA players and they say that they love them, no, they're picking them because they're financially astute and they want to be attached to their finances. So then when they get with them, then they realize that they're just another, trinket that is on, one of many. Okay, because they didn't righteously pick the players. Now, when you see players who got with their their mates previous to making it big or getting in the NBA or becoming part of the NFL, you'll see a lot of times it's more balanced. If they're able to maintain a relationship after the imbalance happens, when they get these waves of money, then you'll see a change. And this isn't to most poly men won't mate with women who are very intelligent. No, the point, polygamy disallows for independence amongst women. And if it's proper, now, if there's a proper polygamy, then you have to go somewhere where you don't see women living on top of each other. Really, polygamy came from the kings and queens and the empresses. You know that, right? It was meant to build liaisons between different nations. That's what polygamy was. Now you have paupers doing polygamy. Polygamy was done amongst the elite. You know that, right? Mostly kings and queens did that, and they did it to make bonds with other nations. So if I'm the queen of France, right, and I'm married to the king of France, then he may want to mate and bring on another queen from Spain in order to disallow war, to bring a nation together so he would keep the land safe and he would keep borders from being infiltrated. This is the reason why we had kings and queens engaging in polygamy. That was done historically with only the top elite, and it was to bring nations together. That was the only reason. Nation building was not something for the common person. It was not. You have basic drone men thinking they should engage in ways that kings and queens did. They're not kings and queens. I don't care if they call themselves kings and queens all day. They aren't. Royalty has self-esteem. Royalty is not always questioning their position in the status quo so much that they have to engage in getting things outside of themselves to keep reaffirming their self-esteem. Okay? I'm not saying it was healthy that the kings and queens did it. I said that's where they got that from. They're saying, oh, it's building, nation building. It is amongst the elite. What nations have you have? You're not making a nation. You don't have a nation if you don't have 20, 30 acres of land with lots of people living on it that you call your people. Nature can't even maintain a relationship long enough to keep the children on his estate. He hasn't any children other than this one. And the only reason that this one is staying is because she was so young and she was so like him and she was so, hell stuck on being jealous of all the other women. She'll just stay. She will stay to her own demise just because she doesn't want any other woman to take on her position. That has to do more with competition as well. So I'm just stating that. I just want to, like I said, I instituted a challenge to nature not and any or all these so-called conscious men who call themselves polygamists. I'm mostly talking to polygamists. I challenge you. And what's that clown's name again? What's it? You guys said him in. I forgot his name. The one living in the forest that likes to rape him. I'm challenged. What's his name? You just said it. I forgot his name already because he's not relative. King Noble. Listen to the names they give themselves. King Noble. This clown is living in the woods, raping, saying it's okay to rape women, and it's the most noblest form of black supremacy. What? What? You see, that's mental illness at its heightened degree. You know why they don't arrest him? Because the United Snakes likes to promote these people. It likes to have these predators in our communities. The United Snakes, the government wants these kind of predators in our community because they do what they want to be done anyway. They don't like most people here, and they want these kind of predators to have these positions. Yeah, he said raping women was the highest degree of showing black supremacy or black power. Listen to that nonsense. I'm challenging that clown to a water fast. Not every polygamous guy is the same. Okay, so tell me, minister, are you a polygamist? How do you feel about your mother? Was your mother a good person? Did you have a good relationship with your mother? Now, people won't answer honestly. How is your relationship with your mother? Is she still in your life? Is she allowed to be around your wives and your grandchildren? Because remember, if you had a good mother, unless she's passed away, which I would be sorry for, unless she's passed away, that's how I know if it's true. Because if it's true, if she was a healthy, good mother, then she would be a partaking in your relationships in polygamy, and she would be with every child doting on your grandchildren, her grandchildren. So that's how I know if they're lying or not. Because people be like, oh, I had a good relationship. My mom was the only woman there for me that cared for me my entire life. You're still living, minister, so care for your entire life when? Oh, he's deep in his feel. It's okay. I don't mean to. I stood by her through cancer. Oh, I'm sorry, minister. I'm sorry. That's what I said. She passed away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for your loss, but rest in power to your mommy. No offense to her. Okay. Oh, doll face. Yeah. My mom was very loving. Heavily in, inundated with ancestral trauma. Proud of her doing as well as she did. Good job. Yeah, I love that. Transmutation. Mutationist. What about the girls that are neglected by their fathers? The girls neglected for their fathers don't have the same degree. What happens a lot of times, it depends on the mother's disposition. Mothers create the dynamics of the household. So if a mother was neglected or she didn't have a father in the house with daughters, the only way it will make the daughters act out of sorts or imbalance is if the mother was bringing other men in the house too often and exposing them to multitude of men over and over, or the opposite. The mother disallowed for her children to see her in healthy dynamics with man and woman relationships. That's when you see it, okay? Or abuse. Too much abuse in a woman, in a life of a mother, will cause little girls to show up sexually only attracted to females based on the fact that they're protecting themselves. I'm showing my boobs. I'm not showing boobs. I'm not wearing a bra. Guys, I'm not showing anything. I have double everything on. Remember, part of my fast, my nano fast, is going braless. Well, at least wireless. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I've shown more in videos unbeknown to me. What do you think about the show Sister Wives? I think I saw it before. Remember, different people show up in different ways, and if you've been reared polygamous over polygamous, you'll be in. You've already been conditioned in MK Ultra. Okay. The healthiest, happiest women and men are in healthy dynamics with each other on soul basis. So meaning that I'm in love with so and so, I'm with him, it's me and him, there isn't anybody I have to trip over or he has to trip over. The healthiest relationships and the happiest is when people are in those dynamics. And then when a relationship expires, meaning that we've superseded the time that we're meant to mate, we happily, move on, and then we mate with someone else. It's not the toppling over effect where you're pummeling over on top of each other, and that causes problems. It also causes competition, and it also causes insecurity. Okay, if these men think that polygamous is great, why is it the fact that yeah, it's in a glass bottle. See, it's huge. That's in a Voss bottle. Because my other bottle's in the house. See that glass? Yeah. I'm doing zero metals. I don't do plastics, so you don't have to worry. I'm not going to do it in this video. I ordered this fantastic clay pot to cook when I start eating again. Yeah. It was from Central America. Oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't want to go too deep and too long on this video. My uncle had poly relationships and women were very bright. Kim. Okay. Are you coming from a Muslim? Are you coming from a Muslim background? Which system do you use? I put the system on my, it's probably on my Instagram. I put the system, I've had it for years before I got pregnant with my first. It's a triple tier filter, and I magnetize my water. I want to meet you. Come to Philly. Oh. Even if a person grows up without a parent, shadow work helps to balance. I agree, Carlos. Absolutely. Why are relationships seem to be the only way to live? I am a woman warrior who's fiercely independent and strong like you, Fleur. I mean, I think everyone likes to have a partnership. I think that's all it is. I love having a healthy partnership, but it doesn't make or break me. I love having a healthy, notice I said I like having a healthy partnership. I won't compromise that. There's a difference. I'm not going to compromise that to be in a relationship where it's their cup is half full and mine is over full, so they keep pulling from my cup or I keep pulling from theirs. That's it. Polygamy is something that's coming right now from an unhealthy way, a stoic last attempt by the patriarchy to keep women suppressed. It is the last attempt. We are now going into a woman's cycle. The sisterhood is back online. Matriarchy is now healing itself and starting to show up in a healthy way. That is why you get this reemergence of something that's archaic called polygamy. It's brought about to keep more suppression during a time when women are starting to become more healing and more in sync with each other, because it creates competition, it creates degradation, and it only disallows for the growth of the feminine spirit. Being in a polygamous system, you won't see, unless now we got to talk about polygamy, but there are people coexisting calling themselves polygamous, and the man lives 40,000 miles away and the woman lives 40,000 away. They're still married and he's with someone else. That's not polygamy. That's just being, that's living. We're not talking about that, okay? Please don't bring that into it. Because someone called that polygamy. That is not polygamy. There are people in Muslim nations who do that. They live in Morocco. They have a wife there. Then they have a wife in Switzerland. They're just calling them wives, but they're really not really engaging like that. They're actually just living more independently, but keep retrograding back to the people they sleep with. That's kind of like you living your life and then you want to have a sex with your ex because you know he's clean, you love him still, and you have sex with his ex. Would you call that polygamy? No. Then you move on and be with someone else. I'm just saying that's not necessarily polygamy. Some people are calling that polygamy. We got to be careful because I'm using the actual term as in relation to these men calling themselves polygamists, meaning they are engaging in polygamy. Polygamy isn't natural, it's archaic, and it is a form of patriarchal suppression of women. I haven't known any woman who's happy in polygamy unless she's a lesbian or she likes having sex with women. Or she isn't even interacting with the women in her household. Okay? Women are very, very territorial. That is a fact. One of the natural, that's why I know polygamy isn't right, because it would be something we desire. Women are highly territorial by nature. Because she's territorial, she will want all of the resources totally for hers and her offspring. She wouldn't want to share that with others. She wants what she has with that male totally for herself. We are highly territorial. That is the number one intrinsic quality of being a woman. In case of polygamy, it should be the woman that decides the other woman in a relationship. That's what they say. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, that's a little, again, I wasn't reared in a Muslim Islam culture because there's a little bit more dynamics and a little, if there's anything healthier, they have that down a little bit more because they've done it for more time. Like I like my wand for myself. I like exclusivity when I'm with someone. Now, I don't believe in monogamy either, because monogamy to me means staying in a relationship past its expiration point, even to your demise or his demise. That's why I'm not a fan of monogamy. But people are like, well, doesn't that mean you like one-on-one? Yeah, but monogamy is so much more than that. It's not just one-on-one. It means, a lot of times the word monogamy means exclusivity to your own demise. And that's where I take it out. If it means just the first part of just being with one person at a time, I prefer that. And then when the expiration point comes, I think we should happily be accepting that we move forward in other relationships that are more serving us in higher ways. It doesn't work for everyone. That's okay. You don't have to agree with me, but it does. Okay. I'm just saying, I haven't seen. And maybe I should listen. If anybody wants to come on Aquarius Rising, anybody wants to come on, he said that's polyphobia. He's got terms for polyphobia. There isn't phobia. If anybody wants to come on, any polygamous women who was actually the ones who initiated polygamous, if you want to come on Aquarius Rising after I finish fasting, I have 2 more weeks of fasting, you can come on the show net. Aquarius Rising will be suspended until I'm off my fast. But if anyone any woman who has an, don't come and lie to me, because I remember I am sociologically and so self-aware. I will see your lie coming. Don't come to me because your man, your pseudo husband told you go on Fleur's show and tell her you initiated polygamy. I'm gonna see you a mile before, because remember, I'm seasoned. I'm about this life. So I'm gonna see you a mile away. Don't come. I'm talking about women who actually initiated seeking out a husband to partake in polygamy. Come on my show. I'm not opposed to hearing your viewpoint. Why would I do that? If it works for you, by all means. I'm just talking about the unhealthy aspect of something that has reemerged from an archaic part of the patriarchy at a time when feminine energy is sweeping the planet. And I also know from being in clinical studies and also knowing and studying abnormal psychology why there are men who are calling themselves polygamists. Why do I have a general consensus of all these men? Because I know why. They're socially traumatized by their mothers. Now they can't get enough yonis because they didn't get enough from their mothers. Well, how would I know that? No, minister, I'm sure you can get your partners to talk to me. Did they choose you to be polygamous? Were you not polygamous and they initiated it to you? I only want to talk to women that initiated polygamy. I don't want to talk to women that are already partaking in the system because they're already under that mindset. They're already part of it, probably based on a man initiating that and bringing them into it because they love the man and they just want to make him happy. I want to talk to a woman or women that were the initiators and they found the man and they initiated polygamy because that's what they wanted to do initially, not a man promoting that to them. You're just assuming and generalizing. That's not okay today, lady. I'm sorry, Gray. I'm just not one of your wives who's complicit and complacent and doesn't speak her mind. We don't have to agree. I respect what you do and I do what I do. I didn't say you're wrong. How you live, you only know if how you're living is right. I don't know how you're living because I'm not living your life. But I just know I'm a little more seasoned. When I tell people, listen, there's a reason. Listen, if you've lived post 35 years on this planet, you've seen things enough to be able to gauge it. If you've lived over 40 years on this planet, you've seen enough to gauge things. If you've seen people living 50 years and plus, they've gained some wisdoms. That's the wisdom from being here. He can live. I wasn't disrespecting him. I'm happy where I'm at. I feel loved. Okay, as long as you feel loved and they feel loved, as long as I know, minister, you feel loved. But the question is, do they feel loved to the equal degree? Do they feel loved? Are they competing with each other? Does one feel like she's getting more attention because you like her the most? Are you giving to them to the equal degree? Are they getting, and I know it isn't possible because I have children. So when you have children, I can answer your question already. If you tell me yes, I know you're lying. Because even when you have children, you love them differently. And you cannot give children to the equal degree. You can match the balance and give equity to your children. You cannot give equality to your children because you deal with them on different levels. That's why if a man tells me that he gives to the equal degree, I already know he's lying out the gate. Because it's impossible. Because you can't even do it with children. Eliana says she's leaving. Listen, that's like the pot. We will listen. For that baby, I wish her to leave. I hope that she leaves with that beautiful baby. And I hope that that baby gets all she desires and gets proper care. I wish so much for baby Eliana. So much for the baby. And baby Rambo's baby, Rambo and Serenity's baby. I want all the babies to be happy. I will only wish them well. She's beautiful. For anyone made that nasty woman who made that comment calling that baby ugly, you're going to hell. If there was a hell, I went to the underworld, and you don't even deserve a spot in the underworld world for calling that baby ugly. How dare you say that on Nash? And you had children around while you're saying that? What kind of children are you raising? So you're raising those bullies in school. You ever see those children that go around being mean and saying mean things about your mama and other children, right? Do you ever see those type of children? That's the kind of mama they come from. Someone who could call somebody's baby ugly. How dare, we don't like nature not. We darn Skippy don't like velvet. But how dare you say that about that little baby? And she's struggling with her health. What kind of devil are you? To say that, and then to talk about Jazzy G. Listen, Jazzy G has never been my cup of tea. I call her ugly. That woman is Jazzy G is far from ugly. And if you call a spade, I wouldn't be calling someone ugly from your position. You don't say that about another woman and her child, calling her son fat. How dare you say that? Jazzy G is a beautiful woman, and I could say that, and she's not my cup of tea. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful shape, and has some gorgeous children that she likes to talk about and share like every healthy mother would. How dare you call her children names and her son names and talk about their hair texture, knowing how brown women have issues with how their hair is interpreted by other people. You are part of the problem in the brown community. It is women like that that you should be careful letting your children around. I would want to know where she is, if any of you, and make sure your children aren't anywhere around her. And that's when people get generational curses from doing things like that. She curses her children by cursing others. How dare you talk about someone's baby like that, and then talk about this woman talking about she's ugly, and then talk about her children. I am disgusted. There isn't any justification. We can all have beef online. Listen, I've had beef with people online, and it isn't personal. You know why? Because we don't know each other. We don't know each other. It isn't anything personal. I haven't gone to your house. If I haven't gone to your house, if I haven't broke bread with you, if I haven't had sex with you, if I haven't broke your heart, or you broke mine, or you did something to it isn't personal. But the children are off limits. When you talk about someone's children, you better make sure you don't have any children of your own, because karma has a way of taking those words and serving it to you in another arena. It's not childish. I won't give her that. It's malicious. That's malicious. That's a devil. And anyone, remember, when I saw that feed, I blocked everybody who was yaying that comment. When they were yaying the comment saying, "Oh yeah, girl," talking because you don't like Jazzy G, you could talk about her children like that because you don't. I'm the biggest proponent. I'm totally without liking nature not. Poly men should take care of the women equally. They should not. You can't take care of women equally. That's why I know it was made in a lie. You cannot take care of women equally. There's no such thing as equality. There is only equity. You cannot. A woman who is post 40, whose children is grown in a polygamous relationship, requires something different than a woman in her 20s who's just having babies and at the beginning of the baby stage. You cannot match and give anything equally. It is only equity that you can balance out. It's equity that you desire. That's how I know it's a lie. If I had 2 boyfriends now, which I don't, but if I had 2 boyfriends now, I'm not going to like Smith like I do Jones. Smith, he may be cuter. I like the way he looks. I like the way he smells. Maybe I want to have sex with Smith more. Jones, I like the way he takes care of things. So maybe I think he's more loving and I like to do different things with him. I'm not going to treat them the same. I will give them equity based on my own capability. But unless I'm perfect, I can't even give them an equity-based relationship anyway, because I'm probably struggling with my own issues trying to juggle 2 men. I don't want that. Now, would I like Jones to fix my fence and to build a house for me? By all means. Maybe I just want to have sex with Smith all day and that's all I want from him. By all means. But I don't have to be in a polygamous relationship to do that. Do I stop at 2? Any more than 2, you just be tired. That's why I say these polygamous relationships aren't fair. What if after you can't give it equally? Because what after you have sex with one wife, the other one's horny at the same time? Can you have sex with both of them? can you have sex with one and then have sex after you do that and have sex with the other one? What if the third one wants sex at the same time? You can't. There's no equality to that. A woman can do that. I don't know if she wants to do that, but she could. A man can't. Unless he's taking Viagra and what's that other drug? Viagra and ecstasy on top of each other. Oh, like I like remember that movie with what's his name when he had clones of each other? Yeah, if you had the clones and you could make 7 of them, by all means. Now that's a little different. One could fix the fence, one could build, one could cook, one could take care of children. Yeah, what's the name of that movie? I forgot the name of that movie. It's a good movie. Have a heart attack. Yeah, what if one of your wives just wants to eat you up and the other one doesn't? Come on now. Multiplicity, thank you, Aya. Multiplicity is a good movie. I'm gonna watch that again. That was a good movie. I was watching what is it? I was watching last night Children of the Damned. Yeah, Children of the Damned last night. As long as you have not having babies, friends will benefits are fine. Once you bring in the children, you got to change your whole stroke. Literally, you got to change your whole stroke. You want to make sure you create healthy children. Okay. You want to make sure you create healthy children too. By exposing them to all this kind of, craziness, you just allowing your children to grow up with dysfunctional values and systems that will be archaic for them to, because we're going into another world where women are healthier. Then you're going to rear these archaic boys who think it's okay to be misogynistic to women. And then he's going to go into a future where women don't want him because he's too archaic. He's like a caveman, and all the women have progressed to like galaxy status. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you have children and you're single, you definitely move single. There isn't any man that comes in my house. There was only one mate I had that was allotted in my house, and he's the daddy of the year. Only the father of my children comes in my house and one daddy, and he's the daddy of the year, and you guys know about him. He was a phenomenal father in his own world. He got awards in his own world. That was the only person that was allotted in my house. I don't let men in my bed. You guys see my boudoir all the time. Is there any men in there? Do you ever see multitude of men? No, because I wasn't reared like that. My parents were married 60 years. Everybody in my family is married. There isn't any divorces. I'm the only one. So I've only seen that system in my household, and I've seen it successful. So, yeah, I don't like clowns. No. You want to come to my house? No. Why do you want to come to my house? There's no reason. That's a privilege to be around me and my family. Even animals don't allow anyone to know where their hiding spaces are with their children. No. Why would you do that? Oh, women are attracted to multiple men to the degree that men are attracted to multiple women. Let me state this. Women are attracted to men to a multiple degree to the degree that men are attracted to multiple women. The difference is women have much more self-constraint and control based on the fact that probably most of us have been reared with some sort of stigma that disallows us from really engaging too much in a free format. Yeah, you got to vet out your partners, right, Emma? Absolutely. And it's wonderful to have a wonderful partner. Women are more manipulating. I don't say women are more manipulating. I say women have more mastery with their minds. Let's change the verbiage when we're talking about women. Women have more mastery of their minds. Women, why do you think there's a queen that runs every hive? Because that's a woman's nature. Okay, that's why I say women are territorial. To say that a woman wants to be in a relationship within the dynamics of other women having just as much say as her is lowering her self-esteem, and it creates coups and it creates competition. It isn't natural. A woman, just like men don't want other men. Would you want another man in another room waiting to sleep with your wife? Let's switch it around on you. How would you feel in a woman's polygamy, in a, what is it called? I don't know what the woman's version of polygamy. In a woman's polygamy, when I have two husbands, let's say you are who's Minister Gray. Let's say this is you. Could you sit in a house as being the second or third husband with a beautiful woman that you thought was sexy? She's your wife, but she's the wife of other two husbands. Could you sit around, Mr. Gray, and sit around and wait after she's had sex with the man that's your brother husband, and wait for her and hear her moaning and groaning and getting off, and then watch her come out glowing and then want to have sex with her after that? That's what you're saying women should allow and should accept. Whether they accept it or not, I'm just saying, how many women can do that? Oh, Celestial, you have lots of men seeking you out, then pick the best alpha. Let the games begin. Let them show their prowess to you. Is that called polyandry? Okay. No, nobody's answering that. Okay. Because no man would tolerate that. So why would you make a woman, you're too territorial? Okay, that's what women are. I just told you that's a general disposition of women. Why would you make a woman have to engage in a way that you don't want to engage in, that you couldn't? Because you can't handle it, but you expect her to handle it. This is what I'm saying. Selfish. It's from a selfish position, a very egotistical position, to say that women don't have the same feelings and expressions of territorialism as men do. Women are more territorial than men. So why would you think it's okay that no man would let me sit in a house while another man is slaying me in a bedroom and then come out and be all happy-go-lucky knowing that I was with his competition? That is what women feel in polygamous relationships. Some of y'all are so hypocritical. There isn't one woman I know in a polygamous relationship that does not feel that way. I remember going to a lecture with Brother Polite. I could speak to this because he says he's so successful in his polygamy. I went to a lecture with Brother Polite. This is before I moved to Florida. This is quite a few years ago. I went to a lecture. He has all his wives. Remember, all three of his wives were there. They were cooking and stuff. They were selling some non-alkaline food like spaghetti and meat. It was crazy. But anyway, it's the first time I met Polite. I saw his wives. They were all dressed like prostitutes. No judgment. But fishnet stockings, purple lipstick, froze, greased up like they had just put Pam oil all over them. I'm serious. And they were each in competition with one another. They were each trying to get him to look at them during the thing, wearing the tightest skirts so that men were looking at their behinds. What is going, and he calls himself a successful polygamist. While Polite is in the front row trying to catch my eyes, listen, they're all in competition while Polite is in the front talking, lecturing, looking at me in the eyes, trying to get my gaze so that he could overcome me and try to take me on, probably. Why are you looking at me when you got three wives in there? Don't lie to it. Remember, you could get away with talking like that to the young sea stars because maybe they don't know better. But I'm about this life and I'm quite seasoned. And I know the game because I've seen it in every angle and every way. And I've walked around the world enough times to see game when I see game. That man's women were walking around like prostitutes, competing with one another. And somebody did a blood ritual in the bathroom there. I don't want to get into that, but that's what they do. So if those women, that's a supposedly successful polygamist, right? He wasn't successful because why are they looking like that? And why is their man who's supposedly happy with three women looking at me in the front row like he can eat me up? Because it's not about polygamy. It's about control and it's about non-mastery. He doesn't have mastery over his own body. And I guarantee he didn't have a mother. Womanizers don't respect their mothers. Every single time. I know that for a fact. Womanizers, misogynistic men have zero respect for their mothers. And any mother who would still be living and seeing that, witnessing that, wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't accept it from their sons or daughters. My mother, to the day, listen, after I was already broken up from my husband, my mother would not let a man come to they were having Thanksgiving dinner. My mother would not let me bring a friend, listen, my friend, to Thanksgiving dinner because she said it was disrespectful. And I was already broken up from my husband. She didn't think it was respectful for me to have a man, even if he was a friend, around my children or the family dynamics. That's how mothers get down. She wasn't going to have that, and I wasn't with the clown anymore. Did I bring him? No, I didn't, because I respected my mother. I love you, Sun Stars. No shade. I love men. So this is coming from a woman who has love for men. I'm a daddy's girl. And I gotta say that I'm a daddy's girl. I grew up in the dynamics where my mother and father were married over 60 years. I was married for over 18 years. I love men. I had children 6 years after I was married. For those who like to throw shade, 6 years after I got married, I had my first child. So this is coming from a woman from a more formal background. I'm about this life. I love men. I love healthy men. I love to mate with a healthy man. And I've only had 3 boyfriends my whole life. Okay? 3 boyfriends my whole life. So when I talk from a position of being about this, I am about this. And every single man that I've ever slept with has loved me. Every single one. And every single man that I've ever slept with still loves me. And any man who wants to be my lover, my mate, my partner, will love me, and he'll create whatever dynamics I would like him to because he has respect for me, and I will do the same for him. Okay? So I'm just saying that. And the other timeline, the other floor was too different. I probably, yeah. Oh, I'm a different floor in this timeline, right? Yeah, I love men. I love healthy men. It's mating season for Florburn too. Remember, I'm fasting. I'm sex-free 30 days. Remember, I'm about this life. No sex for 30 days and no food for 30 days. So I have self-restraint. So I'm in mating season after this. After this, I'm open and willing to take exceptions of any suitors that are appropriate in my frequency. And I will only accept those who match what I desire and what's necessary for me to maintain my healthy frequency where I'm at. Well, you guys are changing the conversation. Anyway, I've gone all kinds of tangent. I was talking about polygamy. I don't see any men responding on here. Sometimes you get upset at me. Are you not married, or are you speaking up to everyone? I'm single. I'm single. I probably am going to be married next year because I still love someone who will marry me if I want to get married next year. He wants to marry me. But, like I said, he's a little too slow. I think he's beautiful, but he's just, a Sagittarius is, I move too fast. I'm too quick. I want to just do things. I love him though. He's probably the most beautiful man I know right now. Love him. See, not everybody that you love is good for you. So it doesn't mean love is enough. It's just, you have to be with someone who's healthy. Oh, Velvet has to be broken in order to leave MB. She's already broken. That's why she's with him. I don't think she needs to be broken. I think she needs to be raised up. I disagree. I don't think she needs to be broken. I think she needs to be raised in self-esteem, because once she becomes more self-aware and more into self-mastery, she will know she's beyond this. When we're really low and we're broken, we'll allow for anything. We're more susceptible when we're low. When she raises her self-esteem, that's when she's like, I'm beautiful. What? I'm healthy now. I know all the eating. I have this beautiful, beautiful baby that I want to raise properly. I'm out of here. This clown is a sociopath. That's when she'll have more self-esteem. She needs to be raised up. She's in a situation where she can't get that because she and herself has done, there's a lot of karma too. She's done a lot of dirt herself. So she's in a situation that would disallow her from leaving because part of her being there is her karma. She's done a lot of dirt. Okay? No. When a woman gets more self-esteem is why she leaves. It's not when she's less. Oh, you missed the big black snake. Oh, yeah. Velvet is, she's beyond, she deserves. She's in deserving what she's getting now. The baby is the issue. And I think if they, and like I said, I gave the Marquez some information that would help them. They can go to a lawyer and get rights over her mental. They can say that she is not in her mental, and they have proof because she was in special, I think she was in special ed classes. I think so. Don't quote me on that. That's allegedly. If she was in special ed classes and she has a psychiatric history, they can go to an attorney and get power of attorney over her, and they can force her to come back and do a psychological evaluation. Also, the baby can come and get evaluated too, so she can get healthy. Okay? I think that's their best bet. That's, my mother gave that advice. Okay, it's called a proctor or something like that. So I would suggest Father Marquez does that to get rights over her, because if her mind isn't right, like I said, Velvet is not a nice person. She is evil, in my opinion. Mama Dia did it for me. I just, she has karma. But the baby, I would love for the baby to get a work over, just get checked out, because she's been exposed to a lot of unsavory things. I think she has, what's the thing she has? She has something, SVP? Is it called SVP? What's that thing she has? Is it oh, providership? Thank you, Dollface. Providership. Thank you. Dollface said, Mr. Marquez, providership. She has to get providership. RVP. Thank you, Divine. She has RVP. RSV or RPP? RSV? I don't know what it is. RSV, okay. She has a respiratory infection, RSVP, and it usually comes from living in unhygienic situations. Also, it's you can pass it. You can pass it from person to person. So she really needs to get proper care, and also she needs to be in a more hygienic situation. She's around a lot of strangers. This is why us as mothers shouldn't have strangers around the baby, especially a newborn, because you have a lot of people who have very, very unsafe. They're pooping on trees. Remember, they don't believe in pooping in toilets, so there's a lot of poop in the area. I'm assuming they're pooping on the land around them. People aren't using toilet paper. I don't know what they're using. You know, people are having sex in unsavory ways. A lot of people have venereal diseases that can be caught, you know, if they're not washing their hands properly, which it doesn't look like they're doing. So the baby is being exposed to a lot of contaminants. Yes, Nicole, RSVP is very contagious. Yes. And it means respiratory wise. Also, you got to take in consideration what's going on with the milk, because milk usually builds the baby's immunity. So something could be going on health wise. Remember, Velvet was in a hospital for a long period of time in Mexico. She didn't actually stay for the duration of time they recommended. She could have something going on. As far as something that's mustering her system and it's passing through her milk. That's why I tell our sea stars, when you're nursing, make sure that you aren't purging or doing anything, or make sure you're eating healthy, because that milk is everything. It's everything that you have. Okay, so it could be causing the baby to have that kind of thing. Yeah, it probably came from the mother. And also, if he's having sex with her and other women, that's also why it's unnatural for them to be a polygamist, because he's having sex with her and having sex with other women with different pH. Then he's having sex, and that also is going into the milk. Oh, they kissed the baby. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, unhygienic. I just, like I said, hopefully Marquez, Father Marquez and his wife listen to this, and they're able to get a proctor to have a say in having her do a psychological evaluation. They can also give proof, because she does have proof that she was mentally unstable previously. She was also in a mental institution, as was Nature Not. She can have her extradited from Mexico. Mexico will allot that. She can be extradited legally from Mexico, brought and had a psychological evaluation, and also that gives a chance for the doctors to do a workover with the baby. She was sick before she gave birth to Vel. Okay, before she gave birth to the baby. So she probably has something. Okay. And also if she had herpes, herpes doesn't go away. So you don't know how it changes or morphs. I'm not sure what the recommendations for mothers who have herpes, if they're able to nurse their children or if that's recommended. I don't know. That would be something that, they should do research on, because I'm not sure if I don't know anything about that. So I can't really speak to that. So, like I said, again, this is, I wish well to the baby. Absolutely. I want the best for her. I saw her in her grandfather's arms and I thought it was the most beautiful thing I've witnessed in a while. The love, you could feel the frequency coming through the screen. It was so beautiful. What is your take on condoms? I think condoms are meant to cause electrical disruptions between couples. I don't think it's healthy to use condoms. It's just like putting rubber tires on the ground. It messes with your electricity. You wouldn't have to use condoms if we were able to have healthy partnerships. If you're with a partnership that you trust infinitely, you would never have to use a condom. The issue is that y'all are having sex just to have sex, and you're not vetting out your partnerships. Because if you're vetting out partnerships in a proper way, there wouldn't be a need for condoms. Okay. They've got non-XL9. Also, a lot of cancers are linked to non-XL9, which is inside the condoms, the latex going in, that friction with a rubber inside of you. It causes all kinds of disruptions. Then you wonder why you get yeast infections. You wonder why you have, sometimes pull-ups showing up in the tubes. It's because of all these chemicals that are basically carcinogens that you're putting inside. And it's not just women. It's also, it's not just women getting it inside of them, it's men putting that on top of their penises that are not circumcised. Okay, so non-circumcised penises are getting exposed to this chemical even more. Oh, but B.O.B. He made a new song. I know. Oh, thank you, Kenneth. Yeah, this is my 15th day of my fast, my water fast. That's why I gave the challenge. I challenged Nature Not, Nature Boy Eligio Bishop to a challenge. 30 days water fast, 30 days abstinent from sex. All sex. Oral, because he'll be like, oh, I can go without sex. No, oral sex, all sex from release. 30 days from release and 30 days water fast. No wine, no sex, no food. Yes, I do rollerblade. I prefer the old-fashioned skates. Remember, I ice skate too. Once you know how to ice skate, rollerblading's easy. But, the bigger you are, the more stress you have on your ankles. So it's a little different. I like old school skates. I prefer them. When I have children, I want to be a masterful parent like you, Fleur. I have moments. I'm trying. Listen, I was humbled by having children. I was humbled, and maturity came to me more. I had more self-love when I had my children. It gave me the courage to leave a relationship that was not serving my highest and greatest good. It evolved me. It shot me to another degree of consciousness, and I'm appreciative of it. I'm really appreciative of it. It took me a while to realize who and what I should be for myself. When my children came, I automatically knew. When I looked at them, I desired for it to be the role model, and I wanted to be the woman I wanted to see my daughters be when they get older. So if I can't just talk about it, I'm not the parent that just says it, I have to be it. So I had to be a view of what I desired for my children to be in the future. I love skating rinks, yeah. I like to dance to music. Oh, I'm like that old, like feathers in the ear. Yeah, I like skating. I like skating. I like everything like that. I'm like a hippie. I was born in the wrong time. I'm like a hippie 60s person. I should have been in the 60s dancing and, rocking, free love. I would have been one of those people. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it, family. I know we'll chat all day. This is kind of like getting like Instagram. Instagram, we do things like this. We just chat it up and just sit and take up time. I just wanted to bring that in and talk about melanation and carbonation and the debauchery that's going on with this this beast called Nature Not, who has created a League of Doom, which is basically a concentration camp for a mind controllable governmental experiment that he is personally being paid for, that I think. So, you know, I just wanted to talk about that, and also wanted to talk about the dynamics of special needs children being the ones that he's luring over there. He is luring special needs, people who are mentally incapable of incapable of proper discernment of this scenario. They're more susceptible to mind control based on the fact that they are cognitively limited. I know that, but I want to speak to that. And I thought it's very important. Yes, mental illness is real. And I wanted to very much speak to mothers and parents and grandmothers, those who are caretakers. We're witnessing this so that we take proxies out on our children. Because if you indeed have a child who has special needs, it is very important for you to get that in writing now, legally, before they become of age. Because as soon as you became of age, she left. If you do that properly, you have all rights. If you see them in a troublesome situation like this, that you can go and have legal action to go and extradite your children from any scenario that might be similar or to this, maybe not as bad, but something to this degree. I really made that video for that. That was my incentive. So if people are like, what's the goal of, yeah, that's what I was talking about, because I didn't want to talk about this otherwise. How do you go about no vaccination? You have to get a waiver, like I did. You get a exemption. You can get your exemption from your local community center. Usually you have to go to your like where the Board of Education is. You can usually go there. It's city councilate. You go there. That's where you get your exemption paper, and you have to go in and get it signed. Okay, so you can get a waiver to exempt. And the only exemption that you have is religious or health reasons. If you have a really groovy doctor who's really down with you, you can get the doctor to sign off that the vaccinations are in harm to your child's health. If you don't, you can go and say you are religious. You could say you follow Florboon's crazy UFO theories, and we're all UFOarians. We're UFOarians. So just say you're UFOarians, that you're religious, and it disallows for you to take any vaccinations that are GMO and with aborted babies, and it's against your, your galactic theories. Okay? I make up all these weird terms. Oh. Yeah, we're UFOarians. That's our new religion. Oh, I love you, family. You use Jedi on your religion? I hear that. You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. You're on your third day of fasting? Big up to Devon. She's on her third day of fasting. Go ahead, C-Star. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't you feel good? I know the third day is a little... Listen, you got it. You got it. You're good. You feel good. Your body's clearing itself. It's resetting. It's allowing every toxin to be delivered out of your body. You've got this, okay? So you're good. Keep going, okay? Congratulations. This is a big deal, okay? You're making it past that point, so now you're regenerating, and just love yourself all the more. You deserve you deserve a beautiful bath tonight. You deserve to relax and put your feet up, okay? Just hearing that makes me want to keep going. Devon, you got this. You got this. Yeah, you don't realize the addiction to food until you stop eating. And then you realize when the addiction is gone, it's like, who else is left? That's you. That's you. You're on day one. Rowan's on day one. Big up to Rowan's. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, Rowan's. You got this. You got this. It's almost the end of the day. It depends on where you are. Come on, you got this. You're almost halfway through the day. You'll be fine. Enjoy. Drink special water. Talk to your water. Tell your water to clean your body and to clear yourself. You got this, Rowan. You got it. It's all good in the hood. The fasting it gives you so much strength. Just inner fortitude, you know what I mean? You gain it. It's like being a warrior of yourself. Like, I've got this. Like, I'm a warrior for me. You know what I mean? How many times have you fought for yourself? How many times have you fought for your health and how many times have you advocated? Let's not say fight. Have you advocated for yourself? Like, this is you saying, I've got you. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. I got you. You are deserving of everything. I'm going to make sure you're good. I'm so grateful that you're in my life. I'm going to make sure that everything's working with you. I'm going to reset everything and make everything right. Thank you so much for being part of me. You know what I mean? Talk to yourself. Give yourself that encouragement. You don't need third parties. We don't need outer people. It's wonderful to have cheerleaders. I love having cheerleaders, but it's you. At the end of the day, when we get off this live, it's only you with you, right? If you can't advocate for yourself, there isn't anybody who can. So it's all you. And fasting is a moment in time. And also, if you're struggling with the fasting ever, you say to yourself, I can eat at any time. I can eat at any time. Like I say to myself, I can eat right now if I wanted to, right? I can eat. I can have something. If I wanted to go eat right now, I can. There isn't any hostage situation. You know what I mean? This is a choice. Right, Dollface? You're good, Dollface. You're good. It's all good in the hood. You know, we don't realize a lot of times we push so much energy into others, celebrities, people on screen, all these people being mad at everybody. Where is the effort for self? Mommies do everything for every daddies. Mommies do things for the children. Yeah. Where's all the effort from me? How much weight have I lost? I think I dropped 23 pounds from 2 days. Yeah, 23 pounds. I shed 23 pounds. And this is my 15th day of my fast. Can you fast and not lose weight? Yeah, it depends on when you're fasting, and Jennifer. You can. You have to, you got to choose your fast. Water fast might not be best for you because it's too much. You shed too your body goes into ketosis so much easier. So you don't want to put your body into ketosis. The problem is if you're very thin, you may want to do a fast that engages in something that is disallowing for that kind of ketosis to set in. Okay? And you may not need a fast in that way. Maybe do intermittent fasting. You know what I mean? You don't have to do a long-term fast. Intermittent. Do I think I'll make it to the 30 days? We'll see. I can't project that. That's my projected goal. Remember, I did a 21-day fast. I did a 21-day fast last time. So I made it to 21 days. That's just a week more. So, you know, if you see me how you'll know how I'm doing is Monday when I come back and do a video. So Monday will be my, okay, so that's 7 days. So Monday will be one more week left, okay? So if by Monday, at Monday I get there, you could tell because that's one more week. I only have 2 more weeks of fasting. Is it safe to fast while pregnant? No. No. Don't ever fast while pregnant. You'll release all the all the free radicals into the baby, and you'll also remember you're purging. So part of that purge will go into your body, and it may attach to your child. I don't say that as knowing. I just presume that. Fast afterwards, and you don't have to fast. Eat healthy pregnant. Your body's actually causing you to want healthier things anyway. Eat healthy pregnant. You don't have to fast. Thank you, Ed, for having such faith in me. Going to the 30 days. Fleur, speak on the spiritual relevance of the navel. What do you mean, your belly button? The solar plexus? The navel is kind of like it's like your entry point. Entry point, it's your connector. Kind of like if you take it as like if you watch The Matrix and you see Neo and they disconnect it from his belly button, like that little attachment. It kind of, the belly button is the connector to the other realm. That's how I take it. The connector to the other realm, because the baby's belly button is connected to inside yours, so it's actually the connector to the other realm. And you don't have a belly button. My solar plexus is functional. Yeah, I mean, the solar plexus is where we infinitely have a connection to source, if I could say that properly. Yeah, it's like a portal connection. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, Misro, you felt it was a sociological a social experiment. It is. It is. It's a sociological experiment. It is. He's being paid. He knows too much. When he did that ritual of the hair, even though the demons probably promoted him to do that, or the demons in him, but yeah, he's being propelled by something outside of what we see, and you could tell. Just his motivation is off. It's not just him he's motivated to do this for. It's for something else outside of him. Yeah. Oh. Oh, your boyfriend got mad and sick. Some people don't like their belly buttons being touched. It's sensitive. The only thing you see me do a lot on this is lick my lips a lot. I lick my lips a lot on this fast. It's just I don't put anything. Remember, I'm not doing any veg. I'm veggie free. I'm nano fasting too. Many of you don't know I'm nano fasting. So I'm nano fasting. So I'm not. There isn't any food, but there isn't any vegetables either. So I'm fasting from both. Okay, except some ghee on my skin. But I'm not putting any like lip stuff that has animal stuff in it. Thank you, Tahira. Did Nature Boy kill? You already know my theory on that. I won't say it again because he could be very litigious. My opinion. I say, my opinion. It's my opinion. I think yes. I think he had something to do with it. I think the circumstances behind all that. There's more that I can't talk about online, but there's more to that scenario. I personally do. It's my opinion though. I don't know that for fact, but it's my opinion based on what I know. I got 111 likes. I love that. I can see 111 is in here. If you don't know Nature Boy, don't seek it out, Catherine. He's you don't want any demonic attachments. Unfortunately, some of us know of him. You don't need to know of him. Did they really shut her down? All right, family. I don't want to keep. Oh, I don't really want to keep you guys too long. Back, okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, so you can some of his his minions have been on here. I've already kicked off the challenge. He'll probably just ignore it because he can't do it. So see, this is how Nature Boy is. He'll act like he didn't hear it. He hears everything I do. He watches my feed. That's how I know because he can parrot some of the things I say. He's watching this, but he probably can't do it. But I challenge Nature Boy. Hey, Fidgy Girl, I've challenged Nature Boy to a 30-day water fast and a 30-day abstinent fast. That means absolutely no food, no liquor, no anything except water for 30 days, and also abstaining from sex for 30 days. No oral, anal, because he's warped. His mind is, he's a trisexual. He'll think of anything. No anal, no oral, no porn, no zero sex, and zero eating. I challenge him. I challenge all of these pseudo-conscious, not pseudo-conscious, all of the conscious males, all the scholars, all of them, any of them, any one. Let's see, but I can guarantee, listen, I challenge them. They may be able to, listen, once I set the abstinent fast, that's when you're going to hear zero. There's going to be crickets. I can guarantee there's going to be crickets. That means no sex, abstinence from sex, and abstinence from eating. Water fast, 30 days. I'm about it. 15 days in, I challenge all of these clowns to do it. Not all clowns, because not all the conscious men are clowns. Let me take that back. I'll retract that. All of the conscious brown males to do it. I see our lunar males do it, so I'm not challenging our lunar males. I see lunar males do more fasting than I see brown males. So I don't really have to challenge them because I don't know that they struggle with that. And I don't see them stimulating. I don't see a lot of these lunar males stimulating all this polygamy. Okay. All right, family. That's my challenge. I'm out. Thank you for showing up for it wasn't really a rant, but I just wanted to touch it on today. I got to do some things today. If we water fast, I'll look like a victim from the Holocaust. Well, you don't do it for long periods of time. A water fast for like intermittent fasting is good. So you do an intermittent fast. So, oh, that was cool. You guys actually gave me likes. Thank you for the likes. I see when the likes go up because remember we were at 111. Thank you for liking my video. I appreciate it. When you like it, it lets me know. First of all, let me state this. not pandering for likes. But if you like it, I know what to talk about too. Because sometimes I won't talk here if you don't like the video. So if I see that you're not really interested in what I'm talking about, I'm like, well, I'm going to share that. I'll just do that elsewhere. So if you like the video, thank you. If you like the video, I know you like the content. And that way I'll continue to talk about some of the things we like to talk about. If I know you don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. All right? At least not on this platform. All right? I love you. Got to get off that sugar? Yeah, get off the sugar. Come on. Let's do it together. Fasting. Big up to all the fasters in the house. We're kicking off our fast. Many of you starting today. Some of you started other days. Big up supporting to all. I'm sending beautiful energy. Big up to Dollface, who's in his fast. You loving it. Loving the way it feels. I hope that you feel good. Take this power. Take your power back. Tell yourself you love yourself every day. And let's challenge these clowns. They want to talk about it, but they don't want to be about it. I challenge you all. 30-day water fast. I'm not talking about vegan fast with nanotechnology. I'm talking about a water fast. But you don't have to do 30 days. Big up to those who even join for even a day. That's a big deal just in itself. Big up to anyone who's joining us for the fast. Big up for anyone who's deciding to do abstinence for 30 days. That's another cleanse. So you don't want to allow for inception of your yoni space or your wands to any demonic attachments like incubus and succubus. So big up to those who are fasting from engaging in poor sexual behavior that's disallowing them to grow leaps and bounds. So big up to anyone who's joining for anything, releasing anything that isn't healthy for them at all. All right. So I'll join you later. Stay positive, stay healthy, and stay kind, all right? And take care of the babies, because the babies didn't choose sometimes, well, they did choose to come here in this way, incarnated, but take care of the babies, because maybe sometimes their parents